Want me to read how many pages? I love that question. And so basically, I just really wanted to think about how I kept seeing this wide-ranging, every time I would assign reading, sometimes they would do it all, sometimes they wouldn't, and I would try different kinds of things. So with this semester, I really wanted to step back and kind of try very specifically a couple things to set up reading assignments in my classes and see if that improved the amount of students who did the reading. And I tried 3 different things. So, but as for existing research, there's the Chabot video that a lot of people have seen. It's interesting. This was my own question I had. I wanted to know how I could help encourage more students to do outside reading assignments, especially since I noticed at this level, English 269, though I should say English 5, I experienced the same kind of thing. But that was mostly about them not buying books. But I said, read the book. Yeah. Here's a copy. Right? Many students consistently coming unprepared to discuss the test. And I also noticed that if some students would come having done the reading, and then the next class they wouldn't have done the reading. And I just couldn't kind of figure out like what was preventing them from doing it. So is there something I could do? So this is what I tried to do. I surveyed the students early on in the semester about reading, just kind of talking about what they do when they read, why they read, what else do they read. We did cover basic reading strategies, summarization, marking things up, asking questions, engaging the text. So then I decided to do 3 different things. One is I simply assigned the reading. I just said, okay, so read 1 through 40 or read this handout. And then I came back the next day and kind of saw how many students did the reading. Then the next time we had a reading activity, I would do a pre-reading activity where I would set up the reading by asking particular questions and getting them engaged and kind of talking about the theme that the reading would deal with, so that then thinking they would get excited and want to figure it out and then come back into class and talk about it. Then I did this, simply assigned the reading, but I told them that I would do check, I didn't want to do quizzes because I just didn't want to do quizzes. So I wanted to do, I'm going to quickly check to see what reading strategy you chose to use in your reading and give you credit for doing it. So whether it was underlining and marking up the text, whether it was summarizing, whatever you do for yourself, I would give you credit for it. So kind of giving that this affects your grade kind of warning. So that's what I did, to see if any of those 3 things got more students to read consistently. There was about 20 students in my class on and off. It kind of fluctuated between 25 and 15. So the number one thing I think is probably about out of order, but I'll start with this one. What I appreciated doing was getting students to talk about reading, just the act of reading over and over. I would constantly spend the first 10 minutes of class asking if they did the reading, and if not, why. And no judgment, and just kind of hearing what they said. And then I just did this Tuesday. I had them at the end of class reflect on reading, their own act of reading through the semester and what they hope to accomplish over the summer. So here's some quick 3 student reflections. I had some challenges in this class as well. The one challenge I was concerned the most, was reading outside of class, because I personally don't like to read, and I didn't put enough effort to do all my readings. This was probably 10 students said something similar to this. I just don't like to do the reading, and I don't like to do it. And they were honest. So if I feel it, I'll do it, and if I don't feel it, I won't. And that was just they were just honest with me. So I appreciated that. What else can I say to that? I'm like, all right, well, there you go. Right? Here's another one. In order for me to remember an important fact in reading, I would underline the word or sentence so I could just go right back to it. This helps just in case I want to go back and look at a paragraph instead of rereading the whole thing. And I think there's about 10 students who began to rephrase what we were talking about in class over and over again, which is if I interact with the text, I can come back and appreciate what we're talking about, or at least participate in what we're talking about. And there was a number of these people who were talk about what I do to read is I mark it up. If I mark it up, then I'm able to come back into class, and they called it faking it. If they just mark something up, they can come into class and enter the discussion. And I was like, all right, there you go, right? Finally, here's another one. I've learned to make time to read more because of this class. I have also learned what distracts me from completing the assigned reading and how to get back on track. And for me, this was actually the most effective thing. I wanted students to think about their own reading practice, and a number of them would reflect on it. So that's 5 minutes, my goodness, already. So that was good. I mean, my goal was to have them consider their own practice, become self-reflective students about reading. Because particularly at 269, when it's kind of loosey-goosey and they're learning how to be students as well as learning how to write. So as they go to 201 and 1A, I think they need to know that in order to succeed, I've got to think about my choices as a student. So I'll go through this quickly. My view of the activities was that nothing worked consistently better than any of the other activities, which I was a little bit shocked at. I think the biggest barrier was external factors, particularly their own prioritization. And then the one thing I did notice, by constantly asking them about their studying choices and encouraging reflection, the class seemed to be more willing to discuss their reading practices. So we just got a nice, honest, consistent discussion about reading. But nothing I did really got the entire, there was never one time the entire class did all the reading. I kind of failed, I was bummed. Right? No, but sometimes just assigning the same amount of students to read versus me like spending 30 minutes doing a pre-reading activity and getting them excited about it. It didn't really impact the thing. And I don't know if that, I don't know. But they were always honest about their reading when they came in. I didn't read, I'm sitting down, I didn't read. You know? And I get 10 people, I didn't read either. I'm like, oh God. Yeah. So they just came in, yeah, exactly, like the whole class never read. So yeah, I guess having meta conversations about reading, just kind of getting them to be reflective was for me, I think, the goal that came up. I'll just jump to the end here.
Go ahead and do it.
No, I want to make sure we have a chance. So for future inquiry, I thought reading content, which was something that was interesting. We always hear this thing if like you choose a text that they relate with, that they'll read more. And I don't necessarily know if that's true. And I'm curious to find that out. Like, you know, just because you assign something that you think they're going to like, if it's got hip hop in it or something, I don't quite know they're going to make them read it more. Also, the writing prompts that we have them do their writing about, how connected it is to the texts that we read, I thought would be an interesting thing to look at. So I want to stop and throw it over to you so you can do your thing. Oh, yeah, there we go. Just do that later. Cool.
All right, so you're going to have to bear with me because I'm not that good at using Prezi. To read or not to read, I looked at what Tom had and I wanted to just, I thought he covered a lot and I wanted to just step back a little and look at it from a different way. But mine, we also did the survey, we also worked with Loretta and we did the surveys in our classes. And I was also looking at observing, we didn't talk about it as much as Tom's students did, but observing who I thought did the reading and who didn't. So I do give reading quizzes and I have mixed feelings about that. But I feel like I needed to do that to encourage them to do the reading, and they said it did encourage them to do the reading. So, okay. So to read or not to read, that is the question, and kind of what we're up against to try to get them to read. And sorry, I got a text. Oh, my cousin is posting photos on Facebook. Gotta go. My boyfriend is calling. So that's kind of, I feel like what we're up against in all the distractions of other stuff they could do besides read.
Talking about distractions.
Okay, so in Prezi, you can move stuff around. One student said, "Oh, it makes me dizzy." So this is the thing. It doesn't. I can't always control what it's doing. So these are comments that I've gotten. I have a particularly strong group this semester, but the ones that I had before. Actually, last semester I just had a student say, "Can't we just read the whole book in class? I don't like reading outside of class. Why can't we do that?" Wow. And a long time ago, I had somebody who got really pissed off about having the final when some of us haven't finished reading it. Like, what the heck? So I don't know why it's doing this. This is the thing about quiz. If you get good at it, it's so. Oh, is that right? Okay. So the other part of that is the strong group I had, these were excerpts from their surveys. I enjoyed reading it because this story was very deep and it really touched me. When I was reading this book, I couldn't sleep. I had the desire to find out what is going to be next. These were not about things that I assigned. These were about, Tom had a question in the survey about what have you read that really affected you or that you really liked. So this is kind of just to say, how you can show the power of reading, maybe from one student to another. Because there's some students, especially in my class, I had a lot who really like to read. So that's kind of like where they could be and where you want them to be. Okay, and see now I don't know where I am.
Press that button right in the middle there. That should take you to the next slide. Yeah, that arrow.
See, I didn't mean to do this in the slides. I wanted to do, okay. All right.
I think if you do view together, it turns into full screen.
It's just like doing its own thing here. Whoops.
Start presenting.
Start presenting.
Yeah, click and start presenting.
If you did it
Okay.
In
order of it.
All right.
Here
I
it
used to do
goes.
the blank one, which is your own thing. So this is the first time I tried to do the format one. Okay.
If you didn't make a path, that might not work.
Yeah, and so down on the lower right corner, see there's buttons all the way down to the lower right.
Full screen.
I don't like this terminology, buttons.
So do the
Thingy together.
I know, it's too confusing. I should just say thingy.
Except once you start using it, you'll know what it is.
Okay, so
Only if you do it repeatedly.
You can just click through your entire show by clicking on those
Click the
buttons.
button.
but this one, I
Yeah.
clicked it, but it
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh, so
It's not.
it doesn't have a path.
Did you make a path for all of the things to connect?
Yeah, if you didn't connect them all
Terminology
together.
again.
I don't know. I don't know if I made a
path.
path or not. So I'll just do it this way. Okay.
We don't
so,
care. We're excited to see your slides.
So these were just things. Come on. Yikes. All right. So I like to read. These were reasons why they didn't read and things that I did with them. So when I was doing this before, I wasn't doing this. Okay. So sick, procrastinate, busy, not interested. Some of the things that I did were quizzes, fun activities. So you usually can click on it and it'll say, can it get bigger or can it get smaller?
I think you have
So
to do
Racing-
exit, and then you will be able to control it manually again.
Oh, all right. Exit here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yay. All right. All right. So, racy content is something that Tom and I talked about too. If there are some teachers, especially with 269, who do something with, they're sexy, they're a lot of violence, like Precious. It's called Push, which is based on Precious. And I considered that and looked at those books, but I just I didn't feel comfortable using them.
It's 15 minutes.
Yeah. And
You could just click on the slides over on the left, and it should zoom to them. Or all the way to the left of the screen. You click on the slide you want.
You're on the left.
Our left.
it's not.
It looks like the PowerPoint slide, the way PowerPoint slides.
All the way to the left.
See, all the way to the left.
Yeah, there you go.
Click on the one you want,
Oh.
and then it'll take you to that.
Oh, all right. Wait. No, it's this one. It's not giving me the one I want.
Oh my.
Sorry. Okay. Come on. Because it's not, for some reason, it's not showing me the one I want anymore.
Can you go find it on that list on the left?
It has a scroll thing on the side.
maybe if you
Yeah,
scroll up.
Scroll up.
Scroll up
The
there.
purple bar that's in that same area.
Left more.
Back in the thing that looks like PowerPoint. So there's a purple bar on the side of the slides. You can pull it
This
up.
bar, slide it up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
And then you can go back up to the beginning of the slides. There you go.
Okay. Sorry. It worked differently when I did it this morning. Okay. So fun activities, group work. We also did things like create a Facebook page for this character, as well as character analysis and symbolism and things. So besides the quizzes, if they're creating a Facebook page for the character, you can tell if they read it or not, because they don't know what we did this week. They don't know what the character likes or who their friends or whatever. So you can tell who's read it. So that's another way to see, have they done the reading without having a quiz. Okay.
That's cool. I like that idea.
All right, so some ideas to use for next semester are maybe a Moodle forum during the weeks for students to ask each other questions and make comments to encourage everyone to do the reading. And